I'll send a couple follow-up emails for that one product. So that's kind of the difference between the two different levels. Autoresponder advantages are really set and forget. You won't neglect your list because you've already got them in and they're receiving the emails. And if you don't, want to worry about them, these Liz with all her niches, I'm sure she doesn't sit there and send emails and worry about new stuff to write every single day to all these niches. It's just done automatically. Set and forget. Now, the autoresponder disadvantages is, we mentioned you can't use the holidays. Some affiliate programs will just, go out of business or whatever, stop working. And you can even space on what you're telling them. You really got to keep track of that. I've got a couple autoresponders that I'll come back after a year and I'm like, I don't even remember that email. But sure enough, everyone's getting it on day 38. The broadcast advantages, where everyone gets it at once, is you can talk about current events, things that are happening right now. You're able to bring up something that's hot topics, hot affiliate programs. When you're doing the automated autoresponder, you're going to need affiliate products that are more evergreen, that's going to be for sale for a long time. These products that launch and then close down, you can't use those at all. You've got to do that, more of the broadcast. And it really keeps the most recent hot products. If all of a sudden your autoresponder sequence isn't mentioning anything on video marketing and video marketing's hot, well, you're missing out on a lot of good sales. That's when you do a broadcast to this, the newest, greatest video marketing product that's out there. The disadvantages are it's hard to keep, sending out. If you've got a lot of lists to remember to send out, or I got to write the email, or you got to pay attention to what's launching, what's not launching, the times. That's a hassle in itself. I like doing that, so that doesn't bother me at all. That's when I have that big calendar on my wall. I keep track of all the pre-launches, the launches, what's going on. I keep everything organized. But that can be a big disadvantage also. And sometimes you just even space that you have lists. Like I've heard of marketers like, they built up like a 10,000 person list and they totally forgot they even had it. They hadn't sent out emails in so long. When they did send out emails, the list was pretty much dead. They didn't recognize who he was anymore. So that's one of the disadvantages. You got to stay on top of it. And you got to find out what your personality is. If you're the type of guy that really enjoys staying up on all these launches, being in the top 10, top 20, knowing when they're coming out with a pre-launch and being right on top of it. Oh, they're launching at 9 o'clock, and bam, I'm going to send out my email right at 9 o'clock. If you like doing that, you should be definitely doing broadcast. If that seems like a big hassle, you need to load up your responder and just send them, have them being sent out automatically. Here's some squeeze page examples. This is Jeff Walker that's going on right now.
Go back one, please.
Sure. So what I'll do is I'll show you some squeeze page examples. And what I do is I copy and paste. We talked about a swipe file, copying or modeling. You want to capture these things. A lot of times not right away. You want to do it after they've run it for a couple times. Let them test, let them figure out what's working, then copy it. Then you can go back and you can go, okay, I'm going to tell my guy that I like this here, and I like the opt-in box on the side and not underneath the video. Or I want arrows coming down. So if you've got a whole big swipe file to choose from, you can get a lot of good ideas. Some of these big launches, they're the ones that are all talking to each other. And these guys, some of these guys are in a big group, the syndicate, and they share information with each other. And they'll know each other's sales, conversions. They'll understand if a squeeze page had the opt-in box on the bottom, then they bring it up to the side, they share it with their friends, they know that increased it, maybe 30% more people opted in. Well, real quickly on the next launch that anyone in that group does, then you'll see those opt-in boxes on the side. So a lot of times this is a great way to copy some of the big guys, and you'll find out what's really working out there. So again, the whole idea of a squeeze page, don't worry about really what they look like in simplest terms. It's getting an email address or getting a name and email address. Every time you ask for more information, the conversion numbers go down. So first name, last name, email address, you're going to get less people filling that in than if you just ask for a first name, email address. And then you'll get, if you cut it out here, you'll get even more people. So the simpler, the less fields they fill in, the more you're going to get people opting in. If you ask for full address and answer a question, you're going to get way less. And if you're not personalizing your emails, don't ask for a first name then. I've started doing that. I've heard that originally, you probably heard personalize your emails, people like it better. That's what was working. People started learning that if they see their name in an email, that it's a marketing email. So some marketers started taking them out, and their conversion numbers, click-throughs went up. So if you aren't doing anything with the first name for personalization in the autoresponder, or when you do a broadcast, don't even ask for it. This is more of a kind of a longer form, where they're still asking for this. And when you hear the term above the fold, that's when you open up a web page and you see the stuff up to this point. So most times you want this, the opt-in box, the link to click above the fold, so they don't have to scroll down. And then here's one that has it in two places. And you'll see that oftentimes too. They'll have it up above. That was a video, and then they'll also have it down below. This almost looks, I don't remember whose this was, but this form here, I always think of this being an Armin Morin opt-in box. I know that's not his product, but that's his look. And when you hover over this, I think this goes green. And all this stuff tests. Even though you think these guys are testing and know what they're doing, sometimes they don't. I mean, Liz and I will pop up stuff, and we're so busy we don't even test. We could easily, if we were testers, we could get stuff that could, maybe double conversion numbers. And a lot of times I feel dumb for not testing. So it's not always, don't always trust what you see. If you guys can test yourself or have outsource someone to test it, that's what you want to do. Because possibly, I've done these before where I actually did test by turning this in green over a hover. I've heard it worked, increased stuff. It did not. In the one test I did, it did not. And I've done that before where people said, this for sure works. Increase my business 20% or opt in 20% or whatever it may be. I test it and it gets worse. So who knows why, but always test something yourself. Don't assume what you've heard is correct. Here's another one of Frank Kern. Even something, different like this. Frank is really big on, and I don't remember what he calls it, but whatever everyone's doing, he does something different. So everyone was doing sales letters. Well, he just did a video sales letter, and it totally shook people up, and it did great sales. But was it truly the sales letter? He had such a great pre-launch that his video sales letter, it might not have mattered if it was a video or a long copy. He did such a great job pre-launch. So everyone jumped to this new video because they heard his great sales and how great it was. They jumped to a video type sales letter. Turns out they had worse sales. They went back to a normal sales copy. So again, don't assume anything, what you see. But definitely keep these, because then you can think of, okay, I'm doing a video, so yeah, I could do that and do some arrows, and that could be something that you send out. It'd be amazing. I don't know if he did this first, this send button, but you see that all over the place now. Marketers tend to copy, and that's what I recommend you doing. So you can look at that as an example, keep swipe files on all this stuff. This is like in the scrapbooking niche. This is kind of one of the long forms down here. No idea if this lady or this person tests it all. So it might be better for them to shrink it down to above the fold and a short little one. It might be better to do a video, who knows? But you want to save these examples to use in your own business or to hand over. Again, it's all about, for me, it's handing over this stuff to someone that can create it really quick. It's as simple as giving them a URL, the login information to your hosting, what you want it said. Again, you tell them exactly how big the font is. Liz is going to be going through some copy examples so it'll help you write the headlines and the bullets and stuff like that. I don't even know if that's tomorrow maybe. But you want to have it the exact size and exact colors. Again, these programmers, coders, they can't make that jump. If you give them a headline in 12-point font, that's how they're going to have it really small. They won't know to blow it up big like that and have it in possibly red font. This is in the trading market. Again, I have no idea if this is effective or not. I just want to show you some examples. Video, some copy, opt-in box. And you can give out anything. Your job is to get people to opt in. So you give out what is going to get them to opt in. And we'll talk about that also in a bit. Parts of the squeeze page. The headline, so it's a powerful headline that hits them on their hot button, whatever that hot button is. It matters on what your niche is. It matters on what is hot at the time, what are people wanting, what the buzz is. You can find that out by, and I'm sure we'll mention this a lot, and probably even in this presentation, you're going to be finding out what is hot by visiting where they go. Where your niche hangs out, that's where you want to be. Or what they're buying. Also, another part of the squeeze page is the graphic. Now, it could be a picture of a report or a picture of the video. Try to always, if you're taking a picture of a video, it doesn't have to be the first screen. You want to get in there and, like you notice Frank, I think, was showing something he was writing on a whiteboard. You want to almost, if possible, do a screen capture of the video where there's some curiosity. Now, if it was just his face, that's one thing. But if he's pointing like this and showing something, writing something, right away your mind's going, I wonder what he's writing. Or what's he showing on that board? Or there's just enough words like, well, that sounds interesting or looks interesting. So you almost use it as a Zeigarnik effect, where you give them part of the story and they need to get more. Another point is the bullets. List the questions you answer in your report. In this case, if we're giving out a report or a video, I've got a list of a ton of stuff you can give out. You want to pretty much list the questions that you answer in that. Today, you're going to discover how Liz Tomey, at 30 years old, has 5 children. And they're 21 years old. I even want to find out about that. And then the opt-in media headline. What that is right by that box, the words that basically says, put your name and email address in here to get this great report on Liz Tomey and her breeding habits. I can tell she's back there. I'm going to add this into my next. By the end of the day, this will just break down. We won't even be giving you information. We'll just be ripping on each other back and forth. And then there's always include like a little note about spam. We don't give away your names or rent or anything like that. The one thing you need to watch though is maybe in your business model you do want to possibly give away the names, or the whole idea of selling. What if you sell your business? You just told them that you'll never sell their name. So you've got to really think about that. Sometimes you don't want to say anything. You won't really directly sell it to like somebody that's spam or like that type of thing, but you might sell your whole business. So does that fall into you just went against your little terms of service that I won't sell? So, maybe in bigger terms, and I'm not a lawyer, so everything I say, double check. And then all the rules are changing too. Right now, December 1st, the FTC's got all these new rules on testimonials and all that stuff. We're going to be looking at our sites next week, making sure we're all compliant. So always, pay attention to those rules. So these are just guidelines. Hopefully that's official on camera there. I don't get in trouble. But yeah, something like that. Think about that. What if you sell your business? All right. Here's some things that you can give away. This does not have to be your stuff that I'm about ready to rattle off here. You can have people write this. Someone was talking about articles earlier. Where do we get them? We buy 400-word articles for $4. You can have a report made. All you do is find out the 10 topics you want in the report, have them write